WIS News 10 starts with First Alert Weather.
All right, folks, welcome in. Let's go ahead and give you an update on Tropical Storm Debby because it's hard to believe that we're still dealing with a tropical storm. It made landfall over 24 hours ago. It was actually yesterday morning at about 7 o'clock in the morning. It spent all of yesterday and today over land, but yet it's still holding on to tropical storm characteristics and moving very, very slowly. So we're still seeing the effects. We're seeing the flooding. It's all still taking shape as we continue to watch Tropical Storm Debby. So let's get you in now and talk about this forecast. Through the course of the night tonight and into the day tomorrow, we're going to watch as the tropical storm moves on to the ocean. So from the land onto the ocean, a tropical system gets its strength, gets its energy from the ocean waters. The ocean waters are warm. That's where it's going to actually intensify. That's the reason that the 40-mile-per-hour winds that you see on here now could actually increase to 60 miles per hour as it makes another landfall in South Carolina, somewhere between Charleston and Georgetown. So there will be another influx, another landfall, and then movement through the state of South Carolina, probably through the Grand Strand, through some of the PD communities before heading into North Carolina. At that time, we're expecting those winds to be up to 60 miles per hour along the coastline. And then inland, of course, here in the Midlands where we are, we're expecting the numbers to be a little bit lower, but they could still be as high as 40 to 50 miles per hour at times. So we still have a lot to talk about with Debby. And one of the main impacts, of course, is the flooding. So the flash flood warnings have been going off continuously throughout the course of the day today, and they're not going to stop. So let's break down a few of them for you. So Clarendon, Lee, Richland, and Sumter counties, your flash flood warning is in place until 8:30. Then we have one for Aiken, Bamberg, Barnwell, and Orangeburg that stays in place until 10. And that's the darker one you see here down towards Orangeburg, Bamberg, Barnwell, and into Aiken. And then the one for the city of Columbia, parts of Columbia, south of Lexington as well. So that's for Calhoun, Lexington, and Richland County. That stays until 9/12. And then we also have, that's our flood warning. Then we have a flash flood warning that's in place for parts of Calhoun, Lexington, and Richland counties. Now that one will stay in place until 8:45. That flood warning is actually for the river. There's a river flood issue that's there, and that's probably going to be for parts of the Congaree River. So all of these flash flood warnings coming in, and they're going to continue to come in because that is that main threat that we're dealing with Debby, the flash flooding coming in because we already have that flood watch in place, and they're going to keep that flood watch in place all the way up until Friday, until the entire system is out of the state. So that's basically saying the stage is set. The warnings mean it's happening now. Let's take a look at the current radar. So for those of you who don't know, this is what is happening right now at this very moment. We're looking at the rain that's falling, and is falling heavy and steady in areas like Sumter, St. Matthews, and Orangeburg, and into Aiken and parts of Lexington counties. With that rain falling, we're now starting to get breezy conditions. Remember that wind is coming in from the north and northeast, coming in at 15 miles per hour in Columbia, 12 miles per hour Lexington, coming in at 21 miles per hour Sumter, 20 in Manning, 18 for us in Orangeburg. Let's take you outside now for a live look at dark gray skies everywhere in the Midlands. Rain falling in Lexington, wind at 14 miles per hour. Sumter, 22 miles per hour for your wind speed, and 12 miles per hour in Winnsboro. The maximum wind gust throughout the day today has been 32 in Lexington, 35 miles per hour in Saluda. I'm expecting these numbers to be even higher by Thursday. Rain totals are starting to stack up out there. We're getting over an inch now for today in Winnsboro. So notice that that rain area is starting to lift to the north. Now areas to the south have already been inundated with rain for all day yesterday and for most of the day today. So you're looking at rain totals probably at about 36 hours. So this was taken, I'd say about 3 or 4 hours ago. We were already at about 5 inches in Cameron and Williston. So a little over 5 there for Cameron in Orangeburg County, and then Williston in Barnwell County. So you were at about 5 inches there. I'm sure Orangeburg is now at about 4.5 inches, and the recording site has actually been down in Orangeburg. So this is actually some numbers that we got from an actual person because of the site being down. It's Santee approaching about 4 inches. And again, these numbers are a couple hours old. So with the rain still falling, I expect these numbers have gotten higher in those locations. As we look at our rainfall totals for what's to come. So remember, the numbers I just showed you, those numbers are already on the ground. This is what we expect to fall from this point on. I don't believe anyone else in our area would get over 10 inches. So we're at 10 inches or less for us in the Midlands. So I know 10 is still very, very high, and we could still see 10 more inches in some parts of Orangeburg County. So with that being said, that's our top end. We could still see 5 to 7 inches in areas in southern Orangeburg County. And as you move over towards area closest to Aiken, you're at that 2 to 5 mark for those areas, and 5 to 7 for you if you're in Lexington County. As high as 7 to 10 as we start to shift that swath over a little bit. So that does include parts of Sumter. That does include parts of Lee County as well. So let's just keep in mind that possibility is there. I'd say 10 would be our high end for the Midlands to as low as 2 inches. But all of us are getting some rainfall. And the other issue is the wind. So I want to put two things on here. Here's our track. This takes us to tomorrow. This is about 4 o'clock in the morning. Notice that that track is offshore, and it is still giving us winds coming in from the north and from the northeast, and those wind speeds going as high as 22 and 24 and 27 miles per hour. As that system, Debby, begins to move back on shore, notice how these numbers start to come up for our wind gusts. We go back into those 30, 31, and 32 mile per hour wind gusts, over 30 miles per hour. And this is after having about 48 hours of ongoing rain in some areas. After that landfall moves back on, we could see some areas near that center of circulation taking on 45 and 46 mile per hour wind speeds. And that does include areas like Bishopville, Shaw Air Force Base, which is in Sumter County, and in Manning, you could be over 30 miles per hour for your winds. In Columbia, over 30 miles per hour for your winds Thursday morning at 7 o'clock. Those winds will continue. So 7, 8, and 9, the highest wind gusts expected for us during that morning hour. By lunchtime, it starts to lift out to the north and head into North Carolina, but still leaving behind the gusty winds. And remember, the soil is already saturated, so that won't be hard for us to take on toppling trees. This is the same time frame. What I've done here is put on the rain onto the map with the wind. So this takes us to tomorrow about midday or so. Now, this is one of those maps that shows us that we're going to get a little bit of a lull for tomorrow morning. A few hours tomorrow morning, not a whole lot of rain falling, more of a mist, more of a drizzle. That's for the early morning hours Wednesday. We then get to the point where we start to see the rain building back in. So around midday, it starts to come back in for us. This is the rain coming back in. Remember, the system is still hovering off the coast at this point. It begins to then bend back in. That's when we start to see those rain totals going up. We also start to see those winds going back up. Again, could see some numbers as high as 40 to 50 miles per hour once the system comes back on shore for that landfall into South Carolina. That backing will continue to give us strong winds into Thursday morning. This is 5 o'clock in the morning, Thursday morning. Keep your eye on our clock here. And we're at 37 miles per hour in Winsboro, 30 miles per hour in Columbia, 25 miles per hour in Camden. It continues to lift over into North Carolina, the center of circulation, but leaving the impacts in South Carolina. That wraparound moisture, that wraparound wind still coming in, giving us a bit of a mess for us at lunchtime on Thursday. Still winds over 30 miles per hour, and wind and rain together, not a good combination. We continue with this pattern through midday and into the evening hours Thursday, and then it continues to lift off for us. So today, we're still in this first alert weather day for today. Tomorrow, breezy. We get a little bit of a lull for the showers, and then it picks up on Thursday with the strongest winds, the tornado possibility as it makes that landfall back into South Carolina. Strongest winds. Remember that rain is already down, and then we'll start to get the possibility of those trees toppling. Always remember flood safety. It only takes about 6 inches of rain to knock you off your feet when you're walking. So don't walk through that standing water. Don't drive through it either. Here's our updated first alert 10-day forecast. 84 degrees for us as we head into your Wednesday and into your Thursday, 78. So cooler, of course, but it will be very muggy and tropical-like as we continue to deal with the wet weather building in. Your Friday, we take the alert down for now. We could have a few early morning showers, but for now we take it down. We're starting to see more sunshine by late Friday into Saturday. We're drying out a little bit, still tracking a late day shower or storm, not associated with Debby at this point. Finally, that drier air gets in here by the weekend. We're at 89 for your Monday, your Tuesday's at 88, and we're staying in the upper 80s as we head through the remainder of your work week.